Welcome, welcome, beloved You-est You listeners. This is Julie Reisler, and I'm so grateful to have you here today. We have an enormously special guest. You will find out for yourself in just a few minutes, but it has been a dream of mine to really both dive deeper into HeartMath, but also to be able to interview and to connect with the CEO and president, Deborah Rozman. So you're going to get to hear from her and meet her and hear all about this incredible work that she has done and created. So let me introduce you to Deborah Rozman, PhD, who is the president and CEO of HeartMath Incorporated. Deborah is a behavioral psychologist, an educator, and author. HeartMath develops scientifically validated programs for emotional self-regulation, energy management, and resilience to improve health and well-being and optimize performance. HeartMath, also the award-winning M-Wave and the Inner Balance HRV coherence technologies for nervous system self-regulation. You can find out more at heartmath.com. Deborah has appeared in documentary films, numerous telesummits, and hosted webinars with Dr. Daniel Amen, author of Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, who wrote the foreword to HeartMath's brain fitness program, and with trauma specialist Dr. Bessel van der Kalk on healing trauma with heart rate variability coherence training. Deborah co-authored the Transforming book series published by New Harbinger. The series includes 4 titles, including Transforming Stress, Transforming Anger, Transforming Anxiety, and Transforming Depression. She has also co-authored Heart Intelligence, Connecting with the Intuitive Guidance of the Heart. We have so much to talk about. I think everyone listening can relate to some sort of time where they felt anxiety, anger, stress, or depression. And I am just, first of all, so grateful and honored to have you here. And just thank you for your time and for sharing just this incredible gift to the world. Welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm just really honored and delighted to be here with you, Julie.
So, I think, first of all, I feel so lucky that we got to meet. For those that may not know the story, we met only a month or so ago in Tulum, Mexico at the HeartMath Summit. Maybe you could just tell a little bit more about the summit and what that was for, and then we can get into it. I'd really love to hear your story about creating HeartMath Incorporated.
Sure. Well, the HeartMath Summit, we should call it, is like a vacation retreat training program that we do every year in beautiful Tulum, Mexico. And it has a theme that is more of the spiritual aspects of HeartMath, which is, this one was called Lifting Global Consciousness.
Yeah.
And it's really about what's involved to create more coherence in the planet. And of course, that starts with coherence with ourselves and with social coherence with others. And HeartMath has developed a whole set of tools, techniques, technology to help people really find that internal state of coherence that can lift our personal consciousness and our collective consciousness. So it was a wonderful time together with you and other people from connected with you in exchange, and then also with about 150 of HeartMath people, trainers, practitioners, as well as individuals who felt called to that.
Well, I got to tell you, it was one of the more high vibrational, uplifting. I felt like I was on some amazing something that was totally natural the whole time. And I like slept well, which I usually do, but I had like tons of energy. I stayed out late and I was still fine. I was like, whatever's going on, there's something very special here. And, I'd love to get into some of the terms that you mentioned, like coherence, and I'm going to make note. But before we even go there, I'd love to just share a little bit of your story. Like, how did you come up with, with HeartMath? Like, where did this come from? What was the why for you?
Well, that's a big question. Let's see if I can reduce it to a few words, essence. So as a child, I always knew somehow that I was here to serve. And wondering what life was about. And so from kindergarten right to seventh grade, I thought best service was becoming a teacher. So in kindergarten was a kindergarten teacher, first grade was a first grade teacher, and so on. And when I got to seventh grade, and you had a lot of teachers in junior high school, I went, wait a minute. So that's when I began to be interested in psychology. What makes me tick? That was the first motivation, but other people tick. I'd look around and I would see that people, and this was way long time ago, before the current stress epidemic, if you will, a lot of technology development since that time. And I just want to understand what was going on. And so I began studying Eastern philosophy and psychology and Western. And long story short, I got introduced to yoga and meditation and had some wonderful experiences and realized at that time that I was following an inner intuitive signal. I was following what felt right, but it was always in the context of what am I about? How can I best serve? What's my purpose? And how can I learn more about who I am? And I went to the University of Chicago and studied attitude change theory. And then I got to be a lot of rats and statistics. And I thought, that's not going to help me understand people or myself, really. And then I came out to University of California at Santa Cruz to put together my own studies on consciousness, which was the only place I found that was available to do that. And I began to teach psychology after I graduated and began to write a book called Meditating with Children. It was the first of its kind ever, and it became a bestseller in the 70s because I felt, gosh, if I had learned how to center myself or meditate as a child, I would have avoided so many pitfalls. I would have stayed more tuned to the appropriate choices. And in studying psychology and teaching psychology, I had people sit on a pillow and be their head, talking to their heart on another pillow, and then switch and sit on the heart pillow and talk to their head. And they go back and forth, and then they'd have this aha insight. And it happened every time, and the energetic uplift was so palpable. And I began to think, there's something there. What is it? And then I met, not long after that, Doc Childrey, who is the founder of HeartMath. And he started talking about the intelligence of the heart. And I was riveted. I knew intuitively what he meant. And he wanted to start a research institute to really research how the heart, the brain, the nervous system, the spirit, soul, if you will, how it all talks to each other. What are the pathways? Could we map it out? And at the same time, he knew from his meditations that you lift consciousness by learning to listen to and follow your heart and really discerning what the heart's direction was from all the other noise. So that's how HeartMath got started, and I was eager to be part of it and became the first executive director, and we founded our research institute, and it's been an adventure since.
Wow. So, and how long has when did that start? How long have you been on the HeartMath road for?
Well, that meeting with Doc was in 1986.
Oh, wow.
And we got together, myself and others who are still with HeartMath and many others, and we started to work together and really practicing what became the HeartMath techniques.
Yeah.
Doc had developed to shift to the heart, activate the heart, get the heart brain in sync, get tuned to your higher intuitive guidance. So we were doing that as we were researching what was going on. We were the guinea pigs. What is happening in our physiology as we do that?
Right.
And is there something similar between all of us doing that physiologically? And so we started the HeartMath Institute and Research Center in 1991 and brought together a scientific advisory board with Dr. Carl Prevram, who'd been head of Stanford brain research for 30 years, Dr. Joe Camilla, who was at UC Berkeley, who created or coined the terms alpha, beta, theta, brain waves.
Oh, wow.
It was an incredible group of people wanting to research this. And so we developed tools that would enable people to shift their HRV or heart rhythm pattern and in real time, and how that powered up the heart-brain synchronization to give us more intuitive access. And that was published first in the American Journal of Cardiology in 1995. And there's been over hundreds and hundreds of studies since then, 400 independent published peer-reviewed studies,
Mm.
all about this power and intelligence and role of the heart in the human system. That's way more than what had been thought of as the heart is just a blood pump.
Right. What do you think is, I mean, I know that it's a lot of information to distill in this interview, but for those listening that are like, what do you mean heart intelligence? What do you mean I
Yeah,
can get discernment? I can hear people like, I have a sense of that, but what do you mean? Maybe there's some terms we can define or just talk about. I know you mentioned coherence, and heart intelligence, whatever.
yeah, no, I understand. HRV, people don't even know what that is. It's a
Right.
lot of fancy terms. Let's bring it to the street, as we say.
Yes.
So when you're feeling love, care, kindness, compassion, the qualities of the heart that have been talked about in every major religion and indigenous peoples throughout the world, from China to Greeks, the ancient Greek to uh, you name it, South America, they all recognize the heart as a source of wisdom.
Mm.
It's what used to be considered just metaphors, like go deep into your heart for the answer,
Yeah.
put your heart into it, follow your heart. Everybody thought it was just somehow a metaphor. And what we found is no, it's not just a metaphor. This is real, and there's a physiological response from the heart as we do that. So, in order to quantify that, we had to look at what's happening in the heart and where we found the most response to those activating love, care, those qualities that we feel that we all cherish,
Yeah.
is in what's called the heart rate rhythm pattern. So
Mm.
our heart rate is actually changing with every single heartbeat. It goes from 50 to 70 to 60. And when you plot it out, yes, it averages over a minute to what people think of as heart rate, 60 beats per minute, 50 beats per minute. But if you look at the beat to beat to beat to beat changes and plot them, you see a pattern. And when we're stressed, angry, anxious, frustrated, anything that creates that uncomfortable emotional experience, there's a very chaotic, disordered, jagged heart rhythm pattern. And the more amplified our anger, frustration, or impatience, the more chaotic that pattern.
Mm.
When we're feeling love, care, compassion, kindness, genuine feeling, putting our heart into something in a way of joy,
Right.
the heart rhythm pattern turns into this beautiful sine wave like harmonious pattern, which is called a coherent waveform in physics. Now, we love the term coherence because even in our language, we talk about coherent thinking, or I feel kind of coherent today, or I feel really incoherent. But there's a science to it. Coherence is that beautiful waveform, and incoherence is that jaggedy waveform.
Mm.
So that's why we call it heart rhythm coherence. And if we can learn to bring our heart rhythms into that state, it helps us shift mood and perception really quickly. It helps us connect more with what we call the intuitive guidance of the heart. So what's happening in the heart is most of it was only discovered in the 1990s, which was really, really recent.
Yeah.
That the heart is really talking to the brain and body in 4 different ways. Blood pressure waves is one, but that's also that
Mm.
information in the blood that is affecting the whole body and brain. But another way is through the vagal nerve, which is the traffic between the heart and brain. And most of us were taught the brain controls the heart. Even doctors were taught that. But no,
Right.
it's a two-way process. And the heart is telling the brain through the vagal nerve, through that heart rhythm pattern signal, how the body feels. Now let's just pause on that because that's
Yeah.
really important. So if the heart rhythm pattern is jagged, incoherent, frustrated from however we're perceiving, and the brain is reacting with stress response, the heart responds and sends back to the brain, the body's feeling disordered, stress, the brain goes into a fight, flight, fright, stress response. It's a constant two-way talk.
Right.
And it becomes a pattern, a habit. We can get into an anxiety habit, a stress habit, because the amygdala, the emotional memory center, stores that pattern.
Right.
And it affects the whole cortical thinking, the frontal lobes. Now, when we shift heart rhythm pattern to that sine wave, which we can do through paced heart focused breathing, as we call it, and through just genuinely feeling gratitude, recalling a time in life that we felt loving or caring, thinking about our pet and feeling what that feeling feels like. It's really about the feeling, not just the thinking.
Yeah.
And the heart is sending that coherent wave. And that opens up the frontal lobes, the centers of compassion and empathy and bigger picture thinking. So that was the huge breakthrough. And then the words, listen to your heart, has meaning. Follow your heart has meaning. Shift to the heart has meaning. And that coherent waveform, the heart's also communicating to the brain energetically through its electromagnetic field. Every heartbeat is radiating out 2.5 watts of power, but it's like a radio wave.
Wow.
Sending our vibes out, our information
Wow.
of how we feel into the atmosphere. So we pick up on each other's vibes, whether we can see the body language or not. You say, oh, I walked in that room and it felt like you could cut the tension with a knife. I don't know what was going on. That's the incoherent waveform. Or we can walk into a cathedral. No one's there, but we feel uplifted. Well, in the energetic field is all this heart love and coherence. So the energetic heart is really powerful. And the physical heart, which has its own little independent nervous system that sense, feel, learn, and remember, independent from the brain, is processing this and sending that to the brain. So it's quite amazing what the heart is actually doing. And so we call all of that the intelligence of the heart. It produces hormones like oxytocin, which is the love hormone. And all this was kind of puzzle pieces put together in the 90s, which is also when HeartMath started, but not just us. It was neurocardiologists and other universities discovering this incredible role of the heart that confirmed what ancients were saying about the heart being a source of morality, of intelligence, of conscience, of intuition. And so all of that is heart intelligence. When we activate it, we feel more in that flow because everything's in sync. Heart, brain, nervous system. Does that help?
That is incredible. It's so helpful. And I can imagine people listening are just, that emoji with the mind blown. Woo, like mind is blown. Well, I love the science behind, these metaphors. I was raised with Julie, just follow what you love, follow your heart. I heard that all the time, which was lucky in a way. I was really told that, and do what you love, be who you love. And so I'm like, oh, there's real backing to explain this. I mean, it's so powerful. What do you see with this science and this evidence? What do you see as being possible in the world? I
think it is the hope for the world, because with all the stress and the increasing chaos and incoherence, because everything's amplified. With all the technology and the constant communication, we are amplifying each other's waves, each other's vibes, either polarizing this way or that way, and it's chaotic. And we all can see that. And if you don't see any way out of that, it can feel very depressing, very anxious, very hopeless. And we see epidemic of that happening throughout the world, and especially in our young people in the developed countries who have a lot of access to this information.
Yeah.
And the hope is, and why we knew we had to really investigate the science, because that is sort of the universal language among education. And the heart is real. It's not just a churchy or sweet or philosophical thing. Not only it feels good, it synchronizes our whole system. So now we have access to higher consciousness. I mean, that's the whole purpose of meditation and prayer and a lot of the religious practices, but you don't need religion or belief system. You look at what's happening in the physiology.
Yeah.
So as that gets more known, people feel more permission, whether you're a nerd or whoever, an ordinary person, to go to the heart
Yeah.
and access your own heart's direction and guidance, because there is one neat thing about the heart brain opening is that it kind of goes beyond time and space into the holistic. We're all connected in the heart. And it shows the bigger picture, so we think more for the wholeness instead of just our own self-centered preferences or our fear-based perceptions. And as we elevate out of those fear-based perceptions, we get more creative ideas of what is helpful for ourself, our health, our performance, and our family, and the world. And we start putting ourselves in other people's shoes, real compassion. And then how can you choose things that are going to just be separative and egotistic? It feels out of sync, and it is.
Right.
So the hope is that this is the next level of human awakening back to the heart, but not just the heart by itself. The heart plus the mind and alignment is what's going to awaken us to our solutions to our personal, social, and global problems. And we see that happening already among people who are catching even not just the science, but realizing in our society we need to connect more with each other. We need to forgive each other. There's compassion centers opening at universities. You see more heart-based actions. And so heart-based living, heart-directed living, not emotion-directed, but true heart-directed, is where we're headed. And that creates hope and release and passion to facilitate that.
That's amazing. One of my questions early on when I was, sharing you and the books you've read, I was just thinking about, given the chaotic energies going on that are being amplified and magnified, which as an empath, I can feel them very intensely and try to really do a lot of work to not, I'm sure a lot of people listening have identified that as well, sensitive and feeling it. I don't even think you have to be sensitive or an empath to feel the chaos. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to miss. I'm wondering for those that, I know you've written about transforming anger and depression and stress, and maybe just to talk a little bit, I know there's like so many techniques and way to do this, but I would love to give listeners a couple different hands-on tools or like actual how to do that. And just wondering if we could do some of that for them, for you all listening.
It's important to understand that anger can become a habit. We trigger, we react, we justify it, we blame, and the person who pays the price is us.
Yeah.
Drain energy, and we get in this closed loop. And people know they want to be different, but don't know how.
Yeah.
And we can develop an anxiety habit the same way. If we kind of internalize that, we may just get anxious or worried all the time. And depression happens when we repress all that, and then we feel compressed. And then over time, that lowers our energy, and we're depressed. So the way out of all of it is to begin to reopen the heart. And that can seem scary at first, but what's not scary at all, and anybody can do, a child or a teenager or an adult, is just begin to shift that chaotic heart rhythm imprint into a more coherent waveform. And the way we do that, I'll teach us a very simple technique that anyone can start doing. We can do it together. It's what we call quick coherence. It will start moving your heart rhythms into coherence, and it'll start to change the message between your heart and brain and start to help you shift how you feel. And if you do that, you can do it throughout the day. It takes a minute or two. You start to reopen your security, your sense of inner self-security, so that you can extend your heart. You can listen to it more, put your heart into things more. Keep your energy and attention below the neck, right here. Because we tend to live up here, and that just cycles around and creates more of that anxiety or anger or frustration. So we want to get out of that whole loop.
Yes.
Right? So let's do it together. People can do this eyes open or eyes closed, whatever is comfortable. course, if you're driving and listening to this, you want to keep your eyes open. You want to shift your attention to the area around the heart, and sometimes it helps to put your hand on the middle of your chest. It's really the whole area, core of our being area, not just the physical blood pump area, but it's the energetic part. And as you focus your attention there, just let your mind sink into that heart area. And pretend like you're breathing in through that area and out through that area. A little slower, a little deeper than usual. And a nice, easy rhythm that's comfortable. If you feel some tension in the heart area because stress is built up, just feel a softness there. Just allow it as you breathe in and out through your heart area. And take practice just to keep your attention there in a gentle way. I had you hooked up to a heart rhythm monitor, we'd start to see a balancing happening between your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems and the autonomic nervous system, which is very healthy. Now, as you continue this heart-focused breathing, recall a time where you really felt appreciative, a warm heart. It might have been with a pet, a time in nature, a loved one. And you want to recall the feeling of it, not visualize it, but how that felt to you as you breathe in through the area of the heart and out. So you're just breathing gratitude or appreciation or care in through that area and out through that area. Just note any feeling shift or attitude shift as you do this. Again, if I had you hooked up to a heart rhythm monitor, you would see your heart rhythm pattern go into that sine wave, coherent wave as you do this. And after a minute or two, the heart is signaling the brain the body is more harmonious, and allowing then the signals to go all the way up to facilitate mental clarity, inner peace, connection with who you really are, inner wisdom, intuitive guidance. All those are possible, but this is setting the ready state for that. Yeah.
Beautiful. So everyone listening, I got to just come clean. I just got in a state of, I forgot I was interviewing you. I was like, wow, I'm just picturing like cuddling next to my son and in that feeling and saying goodnight to my daughter. And I'm like, oh my gosh, hello. That was so powerful.
When you do that and you get into coherence and then you come back into activity.
Yeah.
Do it from the heart and lead from the heart. You're not just going right back in the head. It creates ease and flow through that, and deeper connections with others and more authenticity and all the things we want.
Yeah.
From leading with that heart coherence, because the mind brain is now connected with the heart, and you have more of that guidance through that. So it's like taking little coherence breaks throughout the day can help really regenerate your body, your hormones, your immune system, your relationships, and your connection with the bigger picture.
One of the things I love about this is not just the scientific research and work you've done to show how, but this is innate. This is natural. We are all born with them. I don't have to book an appointment I might need to make an appointment on my calendar, but I don't need to book an appointment to connect with my heart. I don't need to go to a university and get a PhD to touch my heart and to get in coherence. And I love that this is for all humans. This is what we're meant to be doing. It's one of the reasons I already adored HeartMath and you and what you're bringing to the world. It's interesting. Part of the connection we met through exchange, shout out to Steve Havel, who's very involved. I love Steve, who brought in John Berghoff and her whole the team when we were there. And it's interesting, Debbie, because I kind of saw this through, exchanges about asking these powerful questions that help you unlock authenticity and connection. It hit me when we were there. I knew this intuitively, but I was like, oh my gosh, we're unlocking hearts. That's what these questions are doing. And it's just put together, in my work and lots of people that are listening who are in coaching or like it, there's ways to do this. This is natural. We're meant to be connecting to our heart. And so that was powerful for me when I kind of put together that work and how that correlates, kind of how they are synergistic.
There's going to be so much more coming out because it's not only because it's validated. I mean,
Yeah.
in some ways it's like we had to do all this science and we continue to do that to help give a grounding and validation so it could spread wide for people to have permission to go to their heart and not think it's something mushy or religious necessarily or touchy-feely. It's really the activation of a higher potential.
Yeah.
And so more and more people who are coming into things that work,
right,
realizing the heart has to be involved.
Right.
And so it is our natural state. It's just, my perspective is throughout millennia, people have known about the heart and the wisdom of the heart, but they never had skills to manage their emotions or self-regulate their nervous system response unless you were meditating in a cave.
Yeah.
And what happened, or martial arts or those kinds of things, is it wasn't enough to create the heart-brain coherence. And
Right.
so the last several hundred years has all been this industrial scientific revolution where the mind has developed and technology, and the head is huge now.
Yeah, literally.
Now the heart. And so now it's time to put the two together and become who we truly are. And let the heart, which is our connection to our soul, spirit, source, really lead the way.
Yeah.
That it involves both the enlightened mind and the connected heart.
This might be a little bit of an out there question. I'm just curious. I've been kind of really looking into this idea that we have, yin yang. We have we have masculine and feminine energy. Everyone, whether you're masculine, feminine, or something else in between, or whatever you identify as. And to me, when I think of the mind in our head, it feels very action and doing. It just feels like that masculine energy. To me, even just putting my hand on my heart, it's compassion, receptive. It feels like how I would define feminine energy. And I'm wondering, I don't know if you're into any of that, or if it feels like maybe a balancing of those two energies is kind of like bringing up that other feminine energy, which has been lost. I don't know if you relate. It's sort of a connection. It came to me.
Absolutely. We talk about that in HeartMath a lot in their book, Heart Intelligence, Connecting the Intuitive Guidance to the Heart. Everything I'm talking about is about the balance of the masculine and feminine within each of us.
Yeah.
The society's gotten very overbalanced on the masculine side.
Right.
And for many, many years, women were trying to force themselves into more masculine energy and often shut off their heart in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing, to be a self-actualized human being, the best of who you are, you need both.
Yeah.
Men have become much more open to the feminine side. Not everybody, but there's been a movement.
Yeah.
What happens when you balance the receptive and the projective frequencies, if you will, masculine and feminine? It creates like a third force. It, like the two energies, think of them positive and negative polarities, come together and they create something bigger than either one by itself. So ideally for any of us, we want to balance the forward movement, step into it, get things done, masculine energy, with the receptive feminine energy that guides us to what we're going to get done. Otherwise, we can be directed by just the mind telling us what to do, or the ego, and we end up where we are in society with the polarizations and the judgments and the separation. When you bring heart and mind together, you're bringing masculine and feminine together. to make a wholeness. And that's really what brings fulfillment and true purpose.
Mm. Amen to that. I have a lot of questions, but I have one more that's sort of like, I would love to talk about, because I know the little bit I got at the summit about this, it piqued my interest. A lot of the work that I am really curious about is this idea of accessing our intuition, our inner wisdom. And I just remember there was some really wonderful ways of explaining like intuition and kind of how it's all connected. Without whatever shortened version you'd like to share. I know you have some amazing words to explain, but I think this is one of our secret superpowers. I really do. I mean, it changed my life when I started listening and following it. And so, yeah, 100%.
Well, the research is showing that the signals of intuition, the promptings, actually come to the heart first in the heart's energetic field.
Mm,
The heart signals the brain mind, and then the brain signals the body where you have the aha or the gut feeling or that sense.
wow.
So learning to go to your heart for the answer, as the saying says, and pause there in stillness and ask, and ye shall receive, and listen
Yeah.
gives you the highest chance to be able to actually hear or sense what your intuitive self is saying.
Mm,
And so there, HeartMath has a whole set of practices, a heart skill set. There's a whole
mm,
HeartMath skill set that we teach, train people in. We have heart rhythm coherence technology you can use with the HeartMath tools like quick coherence that I taught to know when you really are there instead of thinking or imagining or hoping you're there, but really know, and know when the heart brain are in sync.
right.
From there, you can truly ask yourself questions and get clearer and clearer answers. And so HeartMath has a technique and skill sets, and we certify coaches, mentors, workshop trainers in teaching this, health professionals, thousands of them, so they can help their clients be able to access that, because it has a profound impact, not just on decision making, but also on health and performance.
Mm, beautiful. So for my awesome beloved listeners, they can, for someone who's like, I would really like help with this anger pattern or just connecting more to my heart and having less stress. If they go to HeartMath, can they find practitioners and these resources all on the website? Is that the best place?
And at HeartMath.com, you can look at the tabs, and you can find a coach or a directory of of everybody who's put their names up there. It's a fairly new directory, so they're not all there yet. And you can also click on training and see webinars we have. We have a new training program called Ad Heart Facilitator, which gives you a few HeartMath techniques, and the technology comes with it where you can learn how to use it all and then share it with others without having to be a certified practitioner. We have the technology Inner Balance that you can download onto your smartphone or tablet, and with the ear sensor, it clips to your ear and clips to the phone, which actually shows you your heart rhythm pattern. And we will be bringing out very shortly a new program called the HeartMath Experience, which is
Mm,
beautiful visual training program online for people. So go to heartmath.com and see what's there. And the books Transforming Stress, Transforming Anxiety, Transforming Depression are all available. If you don't know where to find it, just put it in search and you'll get there.
amazing. Well, I've been using the Bluetooth version with the app, and I have to say it's fascinating. I was meditating and I love my mom, and sometimes there's a little bit of anxiety there, and I got a call from her, and it was fascinating to see my coherence shift.
That's right. It's such a self-realization device, because you see what out. You can be loving, and all of a sudden you start thinking about something else, and you go out of coherence. So a lot of people use it to
Yeah.
help train themselves quickly in meditation, be able to calm the mind and get in sync.
Yeah, it was a powerful moment of like, I've got some work to do and getting and staying in coherence and more areas of my life than I realized. So amazing tool. I love that. I love looking to see. I look at the global, like how I'm doing. My thing is making sure I'm not comparing in a bad way, just more in like, oh, interesting. Look at that. Look at how I'm getting to be more in coherence. It's so cool.
I think that's the whole point of it is
Yeah.
for people, we call it the inner balance trainer, what you're using, because
Yeah.
it trains you to know what's going on inside because we are so unconscious or subconscious of a lot of this. And it gives us that clarity to become more aligned and more of who we really are as we practice. And then again, the idea isn't to have to be hooked up all the time, but use what you feel and learn and apply the HeartMath techniques during your day to get to neutral or to have more compassion or to catch that judgment or blame that's just going to drain your energy and
Yeah.
reset, reboot your inner operating system so you can operate at a higher vibration. And, we have a new app called the Global Coherence App where you see what other people are doing and you can really send that love into the planet's energetic field. And there's
Mm,
research on that to help lift global consciousness
amazing. And you can do it from your bedroom.
anywhere.
Anywhere. Oh my gosh, what a gift to talk to you, just what a gift of who you are and what you're up to in the world. And I mean, just cannot thank you enough for sharing such incredible wisdom. I feel like everyone today, we all got these like gems. And, I so appreciate the science behind it because we are such a thinking, mind oriented society still. And so it gives that understanding. However, I'm so with you about, the wave of the future shifting to a balance, a coherence. I'm so grateful for who you are and just what it's all about. I mean, it's already added incredible value to my life. And I know anyone listening is going to be way better, way more heart-centered, way better off from what you talked about, what you shared.
Well, thank you. That's my way of serving. I mean, it's very fulfilling and there's so much stress in the world and we're all affected by it. It's like when the rain rains, we're all affected by the rain.
Yeah.
We're all affected by the stress waves and vibes in the world and their own growth process. So having tools to be able to reset and shift out of that instead of being stuck there is so important. And I would just encourage everyone listening to this, have compassion for each other, compassionate latitude. We're all experiencing the same thing, and especially compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
And know that that will put you in coherence. It's not a selfish thing to do.
Great
You
addition.
will, as you just feel that heart energy going to your cells, it's self-soothing. And that's why shifting the heart throughout the day can really create more ease and flow in your life. And a lot of great things can happen from that.
Well, thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Well, thank you.